The classification. Admiral Elena Rice stared at the holographic document floating above her desk, her expression hardening with each word she read. Through the viewport behind her, Earth hung in the void, deceptively serene from this orbital distance. They classified us as what? She finally asked, her voice dangerously calm. Commander Darius Kim winced slightly. Tamed, ma'am. The Galactic Council has officially designated Earth as a successfully tamed former Death World. The classification came through this morning. Successfully tamed, Rise repeated, each syllable dripping with contempt. And what exactly does that entail for our standing? Reduced voting rights in the Council, mandatory oversight for all military operations, and restrictions on terraforming initiatives, Kim replied. The classification is already in effect. Rise rose from her chair and paced to the viewport. 50 years since first contact, and the galaxy's elder species still treated humans like unpredictable children. Based on what assessment? 3 diplomatic missions where our representatives played nice and followed their protocols. No one raised voices, showed teeth, or mentioned our history of warfare. Kim's expression mirrored her frustration. Apparently, that's their benchmark for taming a Death World species. So they evaluated us based on our most polished diplomats in their most controlled environments. Rise laughed without humor. How convenient. She turned back toward her desk and activated her comm. Get me Dr. Maya Chen from the Synergistic Evolution Project. Priority channel. Kim raised an eyebrow. The Predator Specialist. Ma'am, what are you thinking? If the Council wants to see tamed, Commander, I think it's time they met some proper Earth predators. Dr. Maya Chen had been expecting the call. Not specifically from Admiral Rice, perhaps, but from someone in command. She'd been monitoring Council communications since they began deliberations on Earth's classification. Admiral, she nodded as the holographic call connected, not bothering to hide the wolf hair clinging to her lab coat or the dirt under her fingernails. I assume this is about the Council's reclassification. I need options, Doctor. Options that don't involve starting an interstellar incident, but still make it abundantly clear that Earth is not tamed. Chen smiled, showing slightly too many teeth. Funny you should ask. My team has been discussing this scenario for months. We have a proposal ready. Through the holographic display, Chen could see Admiral Raya's expression shift from surprise to cautious interest. Let's hear it. Send us as Earth's delegation to the next Council session. Not just me. Me and my enhanced wolves. Ray's blinked. Your wolves. Yes. Alpha Pack. 4 of them. They've been following the Council debates with remarkable interest. Your genetically enhanced predators have been studying galactic politics, Rice stated flatly. Chen's expression remained earnest. Enhanced cognition was only the beginning, Admiral. The neural interface implants were initially developed to translate their thought patterns so we could better understand their behavior. We didn't anticipate they would start understanding us back quite so thoroughly. These are actual wolves, correct? Not some hybrid abomination. Canis lupus, Admiral. We enhanced existing potential. We didn't fundamentally redesign them. They remain wolves. Just wolves with significantly elevated cognitive capabilities and the technological means to express complex thoughts. On her lab monitors behind her, Chen could see the 4 wolves in question gathered in their habitat, watching the call with obvious interest. Athena, the alpha female with silver-tipped gray fur, sat at attention, her neural interface glowing softly at the base of her skull. And these wolves understand our political situation. They understand hierarchy, territory, and the concept of respect better than most diplomats I've met, Chen replied. Athena, our alpha female, has composed a rather nuanced critique of the Council's definition of tamed versus cooperative. Her argument centers on the false dichotomy between dominance and partnership within ecological systems. Rice stared in disbelief. The wolf wrote a philosophical treatise. She dictated it. The neural interfaces translate thought patterns into language, not writing specifically. Chen's expression grew serious. Admiral, the Council has made a fundamental error in their understanding of humanity's relationship with Earth. They see our technological advancement as evidence that we've conquered our world rather than adapted to it. Chen gestured to the wolves visible on her monitor. My team can demonstrate the difference. We haven't tamed these predators. We formed an alliance with them. They choose to work with us. They could choose otherwise. And you believe the Council will understand this distinction. If not, they'll at least understand they've severely underestimated Earth's complexities. Chen's smile returned. Besides, can you imagine their faces when actual wolves walk into their chambers as Earth's official delegation? For the first time since receiving the classification notice, Reyes smiled. How quickly can you prepare your team for departure? We've been packed since the Council vote was announced, Chen replied, glancing at her wolves. Athena has strong opinions about punctuality. The transport ship Silver Sentinel carried Earth's unusual delegation toward the Galactic Council's orbital station. In the ship's specialized habitat chamber, Dr. Chen conducted final preparations with her 4 wolves. Athena, the silver-gray alpha female, sat patiently as Chen adjusted her formal diplomatic collar, embedded with the neural interface that would translate her thoughts into standardized galactic common. Beside her stood Orion, her mate, a massive black wolf with eyes like burning amber. The younger wolves, Nova and Titan, paced excitedly, their own interfaces glowing with neural activity. Remember, Chen said, mainly for the benefit of the human crew monitoring them, we're not there to threaten or intimidate. We're there to educate. Athena's neural interface pulsed, and her translated thoughts appeared on Chen's tablet. Predators don't need to threaten. Our presence alone makes the point. Chen smiled. This was precisely why Athena made such an effective ambassador. Just remember the protocols we discussed. The Council chamber will have gravity and atmospheric adjustments for all delegations, but the other species may have scents or sounds that trigger your instincts. Orion's deeper thought patterns translated. We've studied all 214 Council member species, their biochemistry, communication methods, and threat displays. We understand the diplomatic assignment. Chen nodded, hiding her pride. When the Synergistic Evolution Project had first begun enhancing wolf cognition, no one had anticipated how quickly they would absorb new information or how deeply they would integrate it with their natural intelligence. Nova, the youngest female with russet-tinged fur, padded forward. The humans on the ship are nervous about our presence. Their cortisol levels are elevated. They'll adjust, Chen replied. Most humans have never interacted with enhanced predators before. Yet they talk about us as Earth's secret weapons. Titan's thoughts appeared, the young male's amusement evident even through the translation. As though we might eat the Council representatives. Which we would never do, Athena added, unless provoked severely. Council members would likely taste terrible anyway. Chen couldn't tell if that was wolf humor or a genuine assessment. With enhanced wolves, the line sometimes blurred. The ship's captain appeared at the habitat entrance, keeping a respectful distance. Dr. Chen, we're approaching the Council station. We've received clearance to dock, though they're requesting confirmation of our delegation roster. Send them exactly what Admiral Reyes authorized. Species designation, not just names. Let them wonder. The captain nodded. ETA 20 minutes. The Council's preliminary session begins in 40. After he departed, Chen knelt beside her wolves. This is it. Humanity has spent 50 years trying to prove we belong among the stars. Today, we remind the galaxy that Earth isn't just humanity. It's all of us, every species that evolved on our beautiful, dangerous world. Athena's eyes, intelligent and wild, met Chen's. The wolf's translated thoughts appeared. They called Earth tamed because they never truly saw it. Today they look into the eyes of the untamed and learn respect. The confrontation. The Galactic Council chamber was an architectural marvel, a vast hemispherical space designed to accommodate representatives from over 300 species across the known galaxy. Gravity, atmosphere, temperature, and lighting automatically adjusted in each delegation's designated area to match their homeworld conditions. As Dr. Chen led her wolves onto the Earth platform, she felt the subtle shift as the system recognized them and calibrated accordingly. A cool breeze carrying hints of pine and fresh snow circulated around them. Perfect wolf weather. The chamber had fallen into stunned silence as the Earth delegation was announced. Representatives from across the galaxy stared with expressions ranging from confusion to alarm to outright horror. At the central podium, Council Speaker Ziv Talar, a towering avian with iridescent plumage, rustled his feathers in what Chen recognized as the Vatrine equivalent of a startled double-take. Earth representatives. The translator rendered Ziv Talar's melodic trilling into flat galactic standard. There appears to be some irregularity. These are predatory life forms. Chen stepped forward, keeping her hand lightly resting on Athena's back. There is no irregularity, Speaker Ziv Talar. I am Dr. Maya Chen of Earth's Synergistic Evolution Project, and these are my colleagues, Athena, Orion, Nova, and Titan. They are gray wolves, apex predators of Earth, and they are here as fully sanctioned representatives of our world. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of protests translated simultaneously into dozens of languages. Chen waited patiently, scratching Athena behind the ears as the wolf surveyed the chaos with regal disdain. Representative Murkosh, a gelatinous being with bioluminescent organs pulsing beneath translucent skin, floated forward on a hovering platform. This is an outrage. These are non-sentient beasts. The Council does not recognize non-sentient species as diplomatic representatives. Athena growled, a low rumble that somehow cut through the chamber's noise. Her neural interface flashed, and Chen smiled. Representative Murkosh, Athena would like me to inform you that she finds your definition of sentience disappointingly narrow. She also notes that Earth was classified as a death world precisely because of species like hers. If Earth has been tamed, as your recent declaration states, then surely you should have no concerns about meeting its predators face to face. Murkosh's translucent skin flushed an alarming shade of purple. This is typical human madness. Speaker, I demand these dangerous creatures be removed immediately. Ziv Talar raised his wing arms for silence. Dr. Chen, while the Council appreciates creative approaches to diplomacy, we must insist on certain protocols. These animals cannot possibly understand the complex matters before the Council. Chen nodded to Athena, who sat back on her haunches. The neural interface pulsed rapidly, and the chamber's projection system activated, displaying a series of complex analyses of the Council's charter regarding world classification. Athena would like to draw the Council's attention to Section 47.3 of the Charter, Chen said calmly, particularly the logical inconsistency between the definition of tamed world and death world ecosystem imbalance. She has prepared a comprehensive analysis, but in the interest of time, has summarized the key points in this presentation. The silence that followed was profound enough that Chen could hear the soft whirring of the environmental systems. She bit the inside of her cheek to keep from laughing as Council representatives stared at the complex analysis clearly originating from the neural interface of what they had assumed was just an animal. The wolf prepared this analysis. Ziv Talar's translator rendered his trilling with unmistakable disbelief. With some formatting assistance from me, Chen acknowledged. Athena has been studying Council protocols since we learned of Earth's reclassification. She has strong opinions on taxonomic accuracy. From the crystalline delegation, a being composed of geometric crystalline structures that refracted light in mesmerizing patterns moved forward. Doctor, am I to understand that these wolves have been enhanced through technological means? Not exactly, Ambassador Shala. The neural interfaces they wear allow for translation of neural patterns into language and vice versa. They amplify existing cognitive abilities, but add nothing that wasn't already present in their remarkable brains. Gray wolves have always been intelligent. We've simply developed a way to bridge the communication gap. Orion, the massive black wolf, stepped forward, his interface glowing amber. Chen listened to the neural translation and nodded. Orion would like to address the council directly, if permitted. Zivtalar's feathers rippled in agitation. I see no regulation explicitly forbidding it, though I suspect that's because no one ever anticipated such a request. Very well. The chamber's translation system connected to Orion's neural interface. The wolf sat tall, yellow eyes sweeping across the assembled representatives with predatory focus. When he spoke, the translation carried a deep, rumbling quality that seemed fitting for his imposing presence. Council representatives, the translation began. You call Earth tamed, yet you fear 4 of its predators standing peacefully before you. This contradiction reveals your fundamental misunderstanding of my world and the humans who share it with us. Orion paced forward, causing several representatives to flinch backward. For thousands of years, wolves and humans competed as apex predators. We hunted the same prey. We occupied the same territories. Humans nearly exterminated my kind, not because they were stronger, but because they were smarter. He turned to look at Chen, then back to the council. Yet here we stand, not as conquered enemies, but as allies. You call this taming. We call it alliance. Humans did not tame Earth. They learned, at great cost, to respect it. And now they work to restore what was damaged in their earlier ignorance. My pack lives in forests humans have protected. We hunt in wilderness they have preserved. This is not the action of conquerors, but of a species that has evolved beyond mere domination. Nova stepped forward next to Orion, her russet fur gleaming under the chamber lights. Your classification insults both humans and Earth itself, her softer translation continued. You reduce a complex evolutionary history to a simplistic narrative of domination. Earth is not tamed. It has reached a new equilibrium with its most ambitious species, an equilibrium that we wolves have chosen to join on our own terms. The chamber remained silent, representatives seemingly transfixed by the unprecedented sight of Earth predators delivering philosophical arguments about interspecies relations. Finally, Representative Muirkosh's translator emitted an indignant sputter. This is absurd. These are clearly pre-programmed responses designed to create the illusion of sentience. We cannot seriously entertain this circus. Titan, the youngest wolf with darker gray fur, growled softly, his interface flashing rapidly. Chen translated. Representative Muirkosh, Titan would like to know if you've ever actually visited Earth. Have you walked through its forests? Have you felt the wind carrying 1,000 scents across open grasslands? Have you watched a pack of wolves coordinate a hunt through nothing but subtle body language and shared intention? Or have you merely studied reports from the safety of environmental bubbles? Muirkosh's gelatinous form quivered in what might have been indignation. I fail to see how that's relevant. The classification was based on objective criteria established by the Council's Xenobiological Committee. Athena stood and padded directly to the edge of the Earth platform, her yellow eyes fixed on Muirkosh, her neural interface pulsing with complex patterns as she transmitted her response. A committee that has spent less than 72 combined hours on actual Earth terrain. The translation rendered her thoughts. You classified an entire planet based on visits to 3 cities specially prepared for your arrival. You never saw the true Earth, the storms that can flatten forests, the oceans that swallow ships whole, the predators that still hunt in the wild places. She turned to address the entire council, her tail held high. Humans did not tame Earth. They adapted to it, as all successful species must. And in their wisdom, they eventually learned that preserving Earth's wildness was essential to their own survival. If you wish to understand humans, you must first understand the world that shaped them, a world of beauty and terror, of competition and cooperation, a world where wolves and humans evolved from adversaries to allies. Chen watched the council members as they processed this unexpected philosophical discourse, from a species most had classified as non-sentient wildlife. She noted with satisfaction the shifting body language of several key representatives, signs of reconsideration, according to the diplomatic briefings she'd studied. Speaker Ziv Talar's plumage shifted through colors as he considered his response. This is unprecedented. The Council will need to confer regarding this unexpected representation and the issues raised. Athena sat back on her haunches, projecting an air of perfect patience. The other wolves arranged themselves in a loose semicircle behind her, a perfect picture of predatory confidence. Chen smiled politely. Of course, Speaker, my colleagues and I will await the Council's deliberations, though Athena has asked me to remind you that on Earth, apex predators are accustomed to hunting at dusk, and it's already mid-afternoon. The subtle reminder of their predatory nature was not lost on the Council representatives, many of whom shifted uncomfortably as Ziv Talar called for a recess. The Council's private deliberation chamber witnessed one of the most chaotic emergency sessions in recent galactic history. They'd brought wolves. Representative Moorkosh's translator struggled to keep up with his agitated bubbling. Actual carnivorous predators from their death world. How is this not an act of aggression? Ambassador Sheila's crystalline form refracted light in patterns indicating contemplation. The wolves appear to be both controlled and intelligent. Their argument regarding our classification criteria was surprisingly coherent. That's precisely the problem, Moorkosh continued. Earth was classified as tamed because humans demonstrated they had moved beyond their primitive violent origins. Now they send literal predators as representatives. They're making a mockery of Council protocols. Speaker Ziv Talar's feathers rippled thoughtfully. Perhaps that is exactly their point. Our classification implied a degree of control and domestication that the humans find insulting. This appears to be their way of demonstrating that Earth remains fundamentally untamed despite appearances. From the shadowed alcove where atmospheric conditions were kept perpetually misty, Elder Visek of the Mist Collective spoke, her voice translated as a sibilant whisper. We have misunderstood the humans again. Their relationship with their world is more complex than our categories allow for. After hours of heated debate, the Council reconvened with Earth's unusual delegation. Chen noticed an immediate difference in how the representatives regarded her wolves. The fear was still there. A healthy respect for apex predators seemed universal across species, but now it was tempered with something like curiosity. Speaker Ziv Talar took the central podium. His plumage settled into formal blues and golds. Dr. Chen, Wolves of Earth, the Council has deliberated on both your unprecedented representation and the substantive issues you have raised regarding Earth's classification. The chamber grew silent as all attention focused on the speaker. We acknowledge that our existing classification system, designed for more straightforward evolutionary histories, may not adequately capture Earth's unique situation. The humans have not tamed their world so much as reached a new kind of relationship with it, one that includes cooperation with former competitors. Ziv Talar's wings spread in a formal gesture. Therefore, we have created a new classification for Earth, Evolutionary Partnership World. This acknowledges both the continued presence of Death World characteristics and the unique relationship the dominant species has developed with its ecosystem. Chen felt a surge of triumph, but maintained her diplomatic composure. Beside her, she could feel Athena's satisfaction radiating through their linked systems. Furthermore, Ziv Talar continued, we will dispatch a more comprehensive research team to Earth, one that ventures beyond diplomatic reception areas. If we are to understand humans, we must understand the world that shaped them. After the formal proceedings concluded, as they prepared to return to their ship, Chen knelt beside her wolves. You were magnificent, she told them, genuine pride in her voice. You've changed how the galaxy sees Earth and humanity. Athena's interface pulsed gently as her thoughts translated. We merely reminded them of something humans sometimes forget, that true strength comes not from dominating nature, but from finding one's place within it. Chen smiled, scratching the wolf behind her ears. Perhaps we needed that reminder as much as they did. As they boarded their transport, Chen looked back at the council chamber where representatives from hundreds of worlds were still buzzing about Earth's unprecedented delegation. For the first time since humanity joined the galactic community, they had been seen, truly seen, not just as clever apes who had clawed their way to the stars, but as part of a complex, dangerous, beautiful world that had shaped them into who they were. And it had taken wolves to teach that lesson to the stars.